What's up YouTube? Shamu Aquariums here, bringing you guys another video. And right now you are looking at one of my largest rose lines, who is also my best looking one. But that is not who this video is about. Today I'm going to talk about why the red-tail sharks are better than rainbow sharks. Now, contrary to what everybody believes, I do think that the red-tail sharks are better than the rainbow sharks, and I'm not talking about appearance, even though they are better looking. But when it comes to aggression, I will say that they're about the same. And yeah, when I have kept them in groups, I'll talk about how to successfully do that long term in another video. But when I've kept them in groups, yeah, the red-tail sharks are usually more dominant over the rainbow sharks. I'm just gonna follow other fish around since that red-tail shark keeps getting hidden in the back. But yeah, the red-tail sharks would usually be dominant over the rainbow sharks. But when it comes to keeping these fish solo, I definitely prefer the red-tail sharks. And the reason for that is because red-tail sharks, I've kept a handful of the red-tail sharks and dozens of rainbow sharks over the years. And when it comes to aggression, the red-tail sharks are really only aggressive around feeding time, whereas the rainbow sharks are just assholes 24/7. Morning, afternoon, feeding time, evening, it doesn't matter. Just always harassing and chasing the other fish, no matter what time of the day it was. But this red-tail shark, just like every other red-tail shark I've had, he's peaceful in the morning, peaceful in the afternoon, then I feed the fish in the late afternoon, and he'll chase everybody around for 20 to 30 minutes, and then go back to being peaceful. And I honestly do prefer it that way because it is actually a lot less stress on the fish. Now, granted, he is also territorial. So when he's hanging out from here to this part of the tank, when it's not feeding time, he leaves everybody alone. Now, if the rose lines and the Siamese algae eaters go into this area of the tank, yeah, he'll chase them out of there. But it's not like he'll start chasing them all over the place in circles if it's not feeding time. If it's feeding time, wherever he's at, he'll start chasing everybody all over the tank. But then after 20 to 30 minutes, he goes back to being chill, like he is right now. It has been about 25, 30 minutes since feeding time, and he has gone back to being mostly peaceful. He's going to chase this Siamese algae eater out of here if he sees him, though. Now, the one reason I am still considering getting rid of this red-tail shark and shipping him to another YouTuber across the country is because this 1.5 foot section of the tank is his territory. But I have a big school of 12 of these roseline sharks, aka Denison barbs. And I need them to be able to utilize this whole 6 foot length of the tank, because they're pretty much restricted to a 4.5 foot area of the tank. And these guys are getting a lot bigger, and there's 12 of them, so I need them to have as much room as possible. Now, also another reason I do prefer the red-tail sharks over the rainbow sharks, and by the way, this video is, the stuff I'm talking about is based on experience after I've kept dozens of rainbow sharks and a handful of red-tail sharks. It seems like the red-tail sharks, they typically, when they are aggressive, they typically mainly target the other shark-shaped fish, like the roseline sharks and the Siamese algae eaters. And this red-tail shark I have right now, during feeding time, he mainly only targets the roseline sharks and the Siamese algae eaters, and occasionally chases my Bosemani rainbow fish. But I have never seen him mess with my cories, my my angelfish, or the pearl gouramis. So he really goes after mainly the shark-shaped fish that are shaped like him. Whereas the rainbow sharks, they just don't discriminate. They'll chase the rose lines, they'll chase the Siamese algae eaters, they'll chase the tetras, they'll chase rainbow fish, they'll chase angels even. So yeah, in my experience, rainbow sharks are even worse than the red-tail sharks when it comes to aggression. I don't know where people get this whole idea that red-tail sharks are more aggressive than rainbow sharks. Now granted, when I've kept them in groups, which I will talk about in another video, yeah, the red-tail sharks usually dominate, but when it comes to keeping them solo, I definitely prefer to keep a red-tail shark over a rainbow shark, because of both looks and personality. But my shark era might come to an end, even though I'm thinking about getting rid of him so these rose lines can have this whole 6-foot section of the tank all the way across. I would have a hard time parting with that red-tail shark because he is my favorite fish in the tank, but then again, I'm kind of getting tired of him controlling this whole section of the tank and not allowing these rose lines and Siamese algae eaters to come over there. But he is my favorite fish. He's currently about 4 inches. And he was meant to be the replacement of my old large red-tail shark that I had a few years ago. And I will say I like that large red-tail shark a lot better than this guy, because that old red-tail shark I had, see, that's what happens when they go into this area of the tank. That old red-tail shark I had was way more laid back than this guy. But yeah, that's all for today's video. So like, comment, and subscribe. And I will get some close-up shots of the fish before I head out.